What's going on, everyone? This is Sarge here, and I'm going to be talking about Battlefield 3 at the E3 Convention Center in LA. Many of you guys know that Masdeath is still on vacation. He won't be back for another week and a half, I believe, and so we've been helping him out, getting his channels the media that he needs to keep it alive and running well, and supporting him because he's a good friend of ours. I know you've seen Evil Kit post his video up, and Spec Ops as well, and this is my submission, and I basically want to share with you guys my experience at E3 and playing the Battlefield 3 multiplayer specifically. And what I'm going to be doing is talking about the class, the engineer class there. They had 4 classes that were available to us when we played the demo, and so I'm splitting each class into 4 different parts, each part going on 4 different channels. On my channel I'll be covering the Recon class. Spec Ops, who was there with me, will be covering the Assault and Medic class, which are both combined into one, and then the support class will be showcased on Quantic Media, and I'll be providing you guys the channel links here. Anywhere on this video you can see on the top, you can just click there and be able to get some more insight on those classes. But Masdeath specifically, his channel is centered around the engineer, and I know many of you guys have known him doing the crazy 360 RPGs into the chopper, which is his signature move. We call that the Masdeath, and many of his dropping amazing stunts in Battlefield Bad Company 2 using the engineer kit. And so that's primarily what I'm going to be covering here in this video with him, and how I experienced the engineer class when I was there at E3. Now, one of the things that they had us do before we actually got into the room to actually play was they had a pre-meeting, and during that meeting they would talk about the game and how it ran, and some of the mechanics we would be experiencing, and the kind of game mode that we would be playing. And the map was called Operation Metro, and it was rush mode type gameplay. It's very similar to Bad Company 2. You have this large map in sections, and you would unlock each section depending on how many MCOMs you would take. And so those MCOMs, the first 2, each section would have 2 MCOMs. You take those 2, it would open them to the next part, and so forth. And so I'm not going to really talk about the levels and what we started off with and all of that stuff. I'm going to be adding all of that information on the other channels, but primarily what I'm going to be focusing on Masdeath is how the engineer ran for me. So the engineer started off with, I believe, the M4 carbine, which is an assault rifle. Surprisingly, I believe there might be SMGs, but the class that they had us playing were limited to only 1 weapon. We couldn't really check for attachments or any specializations or anything like that. It was pre-alpha build, and so the first thing was, when you played with the carbine, it had very, very good recoil, of almost lifelike, and to the point where you would have to actually burst fire to keep your recoil from going off target too much. And that was a very neat feature, because that's something that the previous older Battlefield games had. You had to control your shots to make sure that each shot was accurate. And so the carbine didn't have as much kick as it did as compared to the Recon class, which used the SVD, but in this case it was more accurate, in the sense that when you did burst at longer, farther ranges, you would need to control it, whereas if you're up close, you can actually just hold the trigger, and it would be pretty accurate. So the map that was featured for us had both far ranges and close range combat. So there was a scene where you take place into a substation, and so it was very up close and personal, where the carbine came very good use into controlling smaller portions of the map. And so flanking routes were great. You can basically flank around the enemy wherever you could and get behind them and do a lot of damage with the weapon. But the engineer also had a rocket launcher, which I'm pretty sure Masdeath is going to make really good use in the game. Surprising, hopefully, to see him pull off some of the same stunts he pulls off in Bad Company 2 on Battlefield 3. And so it was pretty much standard. The engineer kit had a repair tool, just like on Bad Company and previous games as well. And his main job was to get in there and support vehicles, and basically suppress wherever is needed in close quarter combat. And so I could tell just that the engineer class in general was a weapon that you would use, or a kit that you would use for very, very up-close situations. And so I think they provided the weapon that you needed for both ranges here. As you can see, the M4 Carbine going to work. And so it was in general a really, really great experience. I think there was nothing else that I had anything to complain about as far as the engineer class goes. And so it would allow you to both go crazy and up close and up front if you wanted to be the aggressive type, or if you wanted to be the one that stays back and helps your tanks and your armor stay alive and providing fire wherever needed. So overall, great class to run with. It's definitely going to be looking more promising as the full release comes out. I think just playing the game at the booth over at E3, it was pre-alpha build, they let us know that we were playing, and it just seemed like that was the actual full release. And so even with the limited features they provided, it was an overall great game. The animations were just amazing. The lighting was just everything in the game was just beyond its time. It is stuff that you just wouldn't have imagined being in the full Battlefield 3 game, and what we saw here. And so looking forward to it. I think many of you guys will like it. I'm looking forward to it. Many of the reactions from the floor on E3, everyone knew that Battlefield 3 was the title of the year, and so it's definitely going to be bringing the best in FPS gameplay, both casually for those of you who like to play the game casual, and competitively for the hardcore gamers out there. So stay tuned for more. I'm going to be showing you guys and going on a full analysis on the Recon kit on my channel. Specos will be covering the assault, and then we'll be also going over the support class on Quantic Media. Alright, well, take care. Enjoy the rest of the video, and hope to see the community come out with more content on Battlefield 3. Alright, take care. Bye.
I love the original Battlefields, but this takes it over the top.
What'd you think?
It was awesome. Amazing.
What'd you think?
Way better than the last one.
What'd you guys think?
Awesome. It comes soon enough, man.
Thanks, man.
Alright. Nice meeting you guys.
It's a good game, man. Can't wait. Hurry up. Get it done.
Thanks for coming, guys. What'd you guys think?
Awesome. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Beautiful. Go get Battlefield 3, Mr. X to the Z exhibit. And don't forget, you got to play both of them with your T1s. Monster Cable. Peace.